Okay, one of the things that I see students stumble with sometimes is when they're making this widget, they're not getting this completely round, and but they've already kind of finished their piece here. So let me show you a way to fix that. So we're going to pick the model. We need to go down to its edit poly, and then we're going to go to edge, and we're going to double click on this edge. That's the edge around it that we need to be perfectly symmetrical. And you'll see that if I look down on it, that it's not, that it's got kind of a funky shape to it. Okay, so we need that to be perfect. So we pick the edge, and then over here on our edit edges there's a button that says create shape from selection. So what it's going to do is take that and turn it into a spline. Now I think that most times this defaults to smooth. We don't want to do that because it'll try to smooth it out. We want it to be linear, which means we want it to give it exactly what it is. That's what we want, and then click OK. So now you'll see you have a shape over here. Now, the problem right off the bat is this pivot point is going to be out here in the middle where the pivot point of the object was, because it gets its pivot from that. So we want to fix that. We want to go up here to Hierarchy, Effect Pivot Only, and then Center to the Object, and then be sure you turn that off and get back out of there. And so now when I right-click to move, I can kind of slide it up. Oops, undo that. Do not have a snap on when you do that. We want it to stay in place, but we just want it to be up above. And I would pick some kind of a bright color for the wire so it's easy to see it from a top view. Okay. So we're going to go to a top view, and Z will zoom in on that. And then I'm just going to isolate it for a second just to hide that model that we need fixed. Now, you need to make sure that this is flat or this next part won't work. So we'll see, because I don't know for sure this is flat, but if it's flat, I should be able to right click and convert this to editable poly, and then it be shaded. And there it is. Okay. Now if it's not, it won't do it correctly. Okay. So just a way to fix this is if it disappears on you, grab all of these vertices, right click, and we're going to go scale. Then right up here, make sure that we're on this second one, which means we're going to scale to a common center. And then on the Z-axis, just drag down a couple of times, which will make sure that they're all scaled to their center. Okay, so go back to the top. Z to zoom in on it. Right click, convert it to an editable poly. All right, once we have it a poly, Max has a tool in here, so we need to go to Polygon and select it. And on your ribbon up here, under Modeling, there's a GeoPoly. And watch what it does. As soon as I click it, it's going to make it so that every side is exactly the same. Okay, which is what we need. All right, so now I'm going to go to Border. Now it's converted that spline into a mesh, and I want it to be a spline again, so I'm grabbing Border. And then I'm going to create shape from selection, linear, turn off my sub-object, and then I can delete, and I can delete that shape. Now I just have that spline. Okay, now this next part, what we're going to do is snap our object to that spline. So we're going to go to our Edit Poly, go to Vertices. Now, on your snap up here, we want to turn it on, but then we want to right-click on it. We want to make sure it's on vertex only, nothing else. And under options, down here where this says enable axis constraints, you normally want that off, but right now we want them on it on. And what that means is it can only snap in the direction I drag. Now, the reason that's an advantage is we're going to have to be grabbing the vertices that are at the top and the vertices that are at the bottom. And we don't want the bottom ones to snap all the way up here to the top. So we only want them to go in the direction we want to go. Okay. So then all you have to do is come in here. Now you can't just pick on the vertice because there's one underneath it. So you want to drag a box so that you're grabbing the vertex that's at the top. Let me show you. And you're grabbing the one that's at the bottom too. Okay, we're trying to get both of those. So I grab them both, and I grab this corner. Don't grab the y-axis, don't grab the z, grab the corner, and it'll snap right to that. If you got one that's close, I suggest that you pull it away first and then snap it back just to make sure. And then all you have to do is go all the way around this. And now that's going to give us a perfect round piece when we subdivide it. I can turn that shape off. Let's turn our subdivision on there. And I can see when the person did this, they put a locking loop out here, but this locking loop is way too far out here. I'm just going to take that out, control backspace to get it out of there. And then I'm going to double click here. I'm going to go to extrude, and I'm going to do my extrude settings. And a lot of times this will do something weird like this. You want this top one to be 0, and then the bottom one is how close. And we want it fairly close so that it'll tuck and give us a pretty sharp edge. Now, always be sure to turn your edge off. And now when I put my mesh smooth on there, then I've got a nice piece that if I looked at it from the top, you'll see it's perfectly round. So that's a quick way to fix a hole. Of course, now you'll have to do it over here and do it over there too. But then that's a quick way to get that hole and make it perfectly round, because when we're doing mechanical objects, they don't drill in oval shaped, you know, it's going to be round for that bolt to be in there. And a lot of times when people are constructing things and they're pulling things, they get it out of shape. That's a way to put it back in shape. Okay, hopefully that helped you guys. Thank you very much.